Well, we've gathered you all here today because the West, due to the marketing machine, has a big idea that tells us what love is, right? And it's usually between two people, and it has a lot of trouble with it. We fall in love, we fall out of love. We are so passionate, we kill for love. We do all kinds of things in the name of L-O-V-E, love. And actually it's quite interesting because that's only about this much of what love really is. And if God didn't give us the human experience of loving another human being, then we might not be able to jump to the infinite love. And so He seems to give us that little experience of what it is to have that feeling towards another human being or a dog or animals or a tree. Just that relationship, that new feeling that we get. And then you start adding them all up, one after the other, and you are able to have the experience of infinite love. And I was reading some notes today from Drumbolo that I wanted to share with you because I think they're pretty important. I'm not a person who loves history per se, like when a war happened, and who won and all that kind of stuff. But I am interested in the human journey. Sometimes we think that we've never been any place before. Sometimes we think everything's brand new. But actually, the human is very cyclical of what they've done before and what they will return back to do. So I wanted to just read this beautiful passage from him, because he did write the book Living in the Heart. And he says, in the sacred space of the heart is a tiny space that is the source of all creation. Today we are going to find the outer space of the heart, which is this physical. And tomorrow we will find the inner space. This is the true source of ascension. Ascension is changing from living in the brain to living in your heart. This is the point. We were living in our heart. The human being was at one time living in the heart and fell to our brain thousands of years ago. So we were living in our heart and fell to our brain thousands of years ago. We still hold it and have it, but we have forgot it. This is a thinking world, the mind. For this world we are trying to ascend to is a dream world, time, the heart, completely different world. And for all of us, including myself, bless you, you know when you're living from your heart and in your heart, don't we? It's a feeling like no other feeling. I'm not talking about attachment to another human being or the chemistry that comes from our second chakra energy, our sexual energy. I'm talking about that infinite experience that we've all had, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here today. And that's all any of us really want, all the time. Because it felt so good. It felt so right that we just long and long and long to have it. And the promise is, as Jesus has said, and those who have come before us, who came to us in enlightened states, we can have it, it's ours. We just forgot. We switch in and out, I don't even know how many times. It'd be interesting to have a little buzzer that calculated how many times you go in the heart, out the heart per day. Feel good, you feel like wow, and then back, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, right? You get anxious, you get mad, and you get glad. You look at a tree, wow, bing, heart. You look at something else, I'm late, bing, mind. And we just go back and forth like we have an eternal ping pong game playing in our heads. And we call it moods. We call it just, I was in a bad mood. what we're really saying is that we became totally mental. And mental is so finite, it's so limited. But yet the world runs on mental. Today I was walking back from Satya's, and it was a long walk, and we had to go fast so I could get back and teach. And you're walking, and you're checking your body if your feet hurt or anything like that, and can you walk faster, can you walk slower, and then you're watching in the windows, and you're seeing people all walking fast and shuffling along and waiting for the traffic lights and on and on. And in a sense, especially in the city, it can become quite a mental expedition. I think you can go in and out. But what brought me to my heart, and they happen all the time if you're not so caught up here, it was the mailman. He was pushing his tripod and he was singing. Now, I don't meet many mailmen who sing. Usually their feet hurt, they can't wait to get home, get their route done. He was singing, and he caught my eye, and I caught his, and it was a big smile. And those are the experiences. And I do believe in my heart of all hearts that those can be continuous, unending experiences. If we know that's our true reality. And not just wait for a moment where we hope it happens again on Valentine's Day, or when we fall in love again, or this or that or this or that. No. I do believe it's available to all of us all the time. If we recognize it as a human being, that is who we are. And that we were not cultivated by the creative force of this universe to use our minds. And then you can say, well, why do we? I think it's the route we have to go to get back to our hearts. I think these last 2,000 years, 3,000, 4,000, however long it's been, that we did it all in the name of education. That's why everybody who wants to go help third world countries, they have to learn to read and write. They have to learn a vocation. Yes, they do. I agree, because they have to put food on the table. But if they lose this disconnection, if they lose this connection with the heart, they have to go the same route as we're all journeying now. We all learned to read and write. We all got jobs and occupations. And look what we're doing. What are we doing? So do we have to give up our minds? No. To become indigenous, do we have to go live in caves again or huts again in the Amazon or someplace far away and leave all our books behind and all our mental learning? No. We have the ability, with our highly evolved intellectual mind, which we all have. You say, well, I never went to college, I didn't get grades. Compared to those indigenous folks, our minds are very developed. So the question is, can we take this developed mind and return it back to the heart? And I say yes. If you take what's up here and apply it to service through the heart, you can't do service through the intellect. It's too limited. So let's say that you're a doctor, or you're a marketing director, or you're a lawyer, or you're an artist, or you're whatever you do. Can you take all the knowledge that is not yours? Is not yours. You don't own it. That's why when people sign their names to art and we pay millions of dollars, it's not them. It came through them. But we identify that to our personality, to who we are this lifetime. But can we take those gifts you've been given, and it's gifts, and take it from that capacity, that source that you've been given it from, and take it right down to the heart and out? Does that mean you have to quit your job because you're this or that? No. You just find a way, if it's marketing, that you're marketing something that can open other people's hearts, which is a lot of not things. What are you doing? So then people say, well, do I have to go back to a cave and be a yogi? No. Make a lot of money. Piles of money. Not too much, though, because it'll look imbalanced, because that means somebody else isn't. And take your money, take your skills, take your life, and give it back. Then you will know infinite love. You never will know it otherwise. Those miserable days, just think what you were doing on those miserable days, on these depressed times you went through. You were narcissistic, absorbed in yourself. And then once you give it back, it's the law. It's not something we hope is true. We know it's true. You've all experienced it. You're bummed, you're down and out. Then you call somebody that's more bummed than you. And you lift them up. You hang up the phone. And you don't feel so bummed anymore. It's the law. It's the law of the universe. It's called the law of love. I do believe as we're leaving the old millennium, as we're leaving the old Piscean age, within the next 10 years, if people have all of these problems because of their childhood, or all of this or all of that, it will look so old-fashioned. It'll look like somebody out of another age. Because it's really time as we enter this Aquarian age to unload. To unload. To stop telling your story. Especially all of you. Some people are on their first rungs of evolution this lifetime. They will probably tell their sad stories till they take their last breath. They probably will live their sad stories. But none of you, if you're sitting here tonight, has to be there anymore. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. If you make the decision that you unload it, let's say tonight, you will. Will it never return? No. Patterns come back. But if you become more and more conscious of the returning of the pattern, and you can see it coming in, you can recognize it, and then it has no power. Here you come again, trying to get me scared. Here you come again, saying I'm too fat, too skinny, too old, too tall, too short. Here you come again, saying I'm stupid. Here you come again, saying you don't have any money. If we see it coming and identify it, it has no power. But if you don't become conscious of it, it'll eat you up. Right? So that's where consciousness comes in. And when it doesn't eat you up, and when you're empty of that thought, then you automatically transfer to here. And that's the law. Out of mind into here. Tonight we're going to do a string of kriyas. I think that you'll like them. That will continually take you from here to here. That will continue to open. And then of course in the end we get to feed our hearts with the cake and ice cream, okay? And good company of others. Now you say, what about tomorrow? What should I do tomorrow? You should buy some cookies, buy some chocolates, do anything, and just give them to anybody randomly. Instead of at night, oh, he never sent me a card. She doesn't remember me. You know, that is so old. So let us tonight celebrate that we have a heart. Do you know many people are waiting for heart transplants? How many people whose hearts are maybe going to even go out tonight because they don't even have a heart? Or people that are having heart attacks right now as we speak? You have good hearts. Don't waste this heart this lifetime. It's a switch of the mind. You don't have to think, well, I have to move, I have to get a new occupation, I have to leave my mate, I have to do it. No. This changes, then heart on. I'm there with you. Because the nature of a human being is to live from here. It's nothing we have to fight for or try to convince. It's the nature of the human being. It's just our nature. And how do you know it's your nature? Because you feel better. You feel better. Who feels good when they're really angry and they're really pissed off and they're really say mean things. Does anyone feel really great? No, because it's not our nature. So your nature is to be kind. Your nature is to be giving. And the only way we can know that as a human is how we feel when we're not that, and how we feel when we are that. We are sensory human beings, and go by that feeling. And you'll learn more and more as you refine your life to know it doesn't come from up here. It starts getting easier and easier, and then when you're ready to say something mean or nasty or sarcastic, you just sip it, because you evaluate if it's worth it or not, and the implications, and as the pebble falls, how many effects, how much rippling will affect other people, and then you make a choice not to. You can do it. You have all the power in the world with this thing. It's yours. You were given it. What comes out of it is your business. Nobody is forcing you to say anything. You can either close it or you can open it. And when you open it, what's going to come out of it? It's a choice.